أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, how's everyone doing today? Alhamdulillah. I was away for like 2 or 3 weeks and half the class is gone. What's happening? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts of coming out, inshallah. Grant us consistency. For those that were generally next to you on your right and your left, please follow up and invite them back to class, inshallah. Khairan. So we find ourselves in a blessed month, the month of Muharram, also the Islamic New Year, an opportunity to prepare ourselves for the rest of the Islamic year. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us an Islamic year that is good, filled with barakah, filled with khair. Friday past we spoke about roles and goals. Roles meaning as an individual, what are the roles that you have as an individual? So you have the role of being a father, you have the role of being a mother, you have the role of being a spouse, and these are all important roles one need to look at. And above all of the roles that one has, you are an abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so when looking at all these roles, you need to ask yourself, are you fulfilling the haqq of each and every role that you have? And we make dua, inshallah, in this new Islamic year, that we are able to give each of those roles its haqq. So as a parent, am I doing my job with my children? As a spouse, am I giving my wife her haqq? And most importantly, towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have I been fulfilling my duties towards Him? And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us to fulfill the necessary roles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you. This is amana, this is a responsibility, and also setting goals. So for the new Islamic year, what is it I want to achieve in relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? From last Muharram to this Muharram, has there been an improvement in my connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Has there been an improvement in my recitation? Am I increasing in my recitation, my salah, and so on and so forth? Make a list of goals that you want to achieve this year. In relation to you being a spouse, you want to take it from a negative space into a positive space this year, inshallah. You want to take your relationship from a negative into a positive. Now it's all positive, eh? Alhamdulillah, mashallah. All positive. You want to take it from a positive space to a better space, inshallah. Relationship with your kids, you want to move it from a space that you're in now into a better space. And for the month, for this particular Islamic year, this is going to be one of our goals, inshallah, to increase on that particular roles that we have for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khair. So Surah Maa'oon, a very intense surah. We got half an hour. This is a very, very intense surah. It starts out Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and asking him a question. So Allah asks the question, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت. This word, it's firstly it starts with ra'a means to see, and then if you take it down the scale, رأيت فعلت means فعلت, you did. So رأيت, you saw, and then there's a hamza added to the verb. You see that hamza in front? So this hamza puts the sentence into question. So what is this hamza called? Hamza of question. Yes, what's the Arabic? Sorry? Istifham. Lovely. Istifham. Hamzatul istifham. So this hamza is putting the sentence into question. So we started out by saying ra'a, to see, ra'aita, you've seen, ara'aita, have you seen? Have you seen this? This is what's going to be asked now. Have you seen this? It creates a certain amount of what's the right word? Like enthusiasm about something. Sorry? Anticipation. Like normally when you come to, it's a gesien. You know, just the way the person say it, you know already, hey, this is a story. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to create that anticipation, but about something very important. Ara'ayta, have you seen? Alladhi, the one who. Yukadhibu. Kadhaba. Yukadhibu. Have you done the babs already? No? Okay, so this word is on the second bab. You'll do that at a later stage, inshallah. Yukadhibu. Have you seen the one who denies? You can either translate as deny or belie, with the same meaning. To reject, to deny, or to belie. Bid-deen. The word deen over here means the day of recompense, the day of judgment, the day of Qiyamah. So this is a big question. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to Rasulullah in a state of distress, and he says, have you seen those who reject the day of Qiyamah? So from the outset, without going into what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what would your definition be of someone who rejects the day of Qiyamah? What would your definition be? A general definition. What description would you give? Disbeliever. What else? Sorry? Not necessarily. But a disbeliever, someone who rejects the deen, he's an atheist, he's agnostic. Okay, agnostic's not sure whether there's a God or not, he just doesn't have anything. But this is a general description, isn't it? It's a specific question, the person who rejects the deen. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives certain descriptions that says through these descriptions it shows what his belief in the hereafter is. Understand that? So what's the descriptions Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives? Now this is the context in the time of the Quraysh, when there was power, there was might. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says through these actions it means something about their belief in the hereafter. At the time of Rasulullah there were many orphans. Rasulullah was one of them. So the first discussion is about the orphan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says فَذَلِكَ, so that is الَّذِي, the one who يَدُعُّ, he pushes away or he repulses al-yatim, the orphan. So look at this. A general description of the one who has rejected the day of Qiyamah is to us someone who disbelieves. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is an action of his that shows the reality of his belief in the hereafter. Because had he believed in the hereafter, then he wouldn't have been doing this action. So he's the one that pushes away the orphan. So Rasulullah being an orphan, Rasulullah being raised as an orphan, Rasulullah seeing the circumstances of the orphans, and then you get this powerful and mighty and rich, and they just discard him, and they just allow him to die in poverty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this person doesn't know the reality of the hereafter, that's why he's acting in this way. Okay? What's the next one? Wala, and he does not. Yahuddu, he does not encourage ala ta'amil miskin, ala regarding ta'am, the feeding, al miskin, of the poor. He doesn't himself do it, and he doesn't encourage doing it. Now, again, our description of someone that rejects the deen is someone that's a rejecter. Here Allah subhanahu is saying, as a person who doesn't encourage feeding poor, is not interested in feeding the poor, is not interested in helping. So again, it's the surah is a surah of reflection. So one can say, but I believe and I firmly believe, but one's actions could say contrary to one's belief. And here we see the importance of getting involved in assisting those less fortunate than us, as this is a sign of our belief in Allah. And this is a sign that we're going to stand in front of Allah, because Allah is going to ask you, I've given you a certain amount of ability, of wealth, of so on and so forth. To what capacity were you able to, use of that for the betterment of others? Yes, our wealth is there for our own benefit and for our family and so on and so forth. But where we can extend a hand without it hurting us, then let's do that. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the ability to do that, even if it is that's a 1 rand or 5 rand or 10 rand. Not to put yourself in too much of a difficulty, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says a sign of a person that doesn't believe in the hereafter, he's not even interested in assisting anybody. He doesn't want to assist the poor, he doesn't encourage the poor, no interest whatsoever. Something to reflect on. And these were initially discussing the Quraysh that had power. So then a separate discussion happens now, and this is speaking about the hypocrites. And in Medina there were hypocrites that they said one thing, but their internal belief was contrary to what they said. And they were amongst the people in Medina, they were amongst the Muslims, and the actions, again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights the actions. Now, this verse is very serious because it now speaks about the reality of salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, fawailun, a very, very strong word. Wailun. Wail means destruction. Wail means to be cursed. May these people be cursed, may destruction await them. In one of the tafsirs, a wail is described as a valley in Jahannam for a certain group of people. Who is the group of people? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, fawailun, destruction, a pit of hell, may be cursed, lil to musallin, to those making salah. Hey, but this doesn't make sense. Can this make sense? No. How does this make sense? By those who are making salah, may they be cursed. Is it right? Sorry? It's qualified later. Lovely. Now, this is something very important to take note of. The Quran, used out of context, can give you the total opposite meaning of what it actually means. So I can take this verse out, I can quote it to you, and I can tell you, but Quran says so. Allah says here, those who are making salah must be cursed, so stop making salah because you're going to be cursed. Many of those that are against Islam, they use this tactic. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these verses of battle, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ, wherever you find them, fight them and kill them. And they say, look at Islam, barbaric. Yet in context, this is after 13 years of being tortured, and you're now going to Medina, and they're still following you, and they want to kill you there as well. And Allah says, please respond and fight them back. But out of context, that gives you a different meaning. So this is very, very important. Don't take things out of context, especially where Quran is concerned. You're going to give a different understanding and a different interpretation of what Allah subhanahu wishes to say. So this is qualified. And it's qualified where Allah subhanahu says in the next verse, Alladina, those whom they are regarding salatihim, their prayers, their salah. It's very loud, Sahun. So they are regarding their salah sahun. Sahun means they are neglectful. They are neglectful. This is very serious. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say to those who are making salah, to those that are making salah, but their salah is according to their own standard. Salah out of time. Salah when they want to. So, the salah is not in accordance with that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. A reference was given here to the munafiqeen in Medina. What would happen is, the Muslims would come out and they would gather in the masajid to make their salah. And then amongst them, to not be shown that we are not part of the Muslims or we are not part of the ummah or whatever the case may be, they would also come out to make salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, may those people be cursed, because their salah is not for the sake of Allah. Their salah is to show that no, we are here. Do not be singled out because you're going to ask, hey, but you weren't here. Why are you not here? And also, when they are not with the group, then there's no salah. Completely neglectful. So those who, regarding their salah, are neglectful. Now, this is something serious for us to reflect on. It starts out, you know who's denying the deen. And we started out with the question, so who? It's a disbeliever. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us certain actions. And we see the importance of salah. You know, Rasulullah says that your key to Jannah is your salah. We make dua inshallah that these ayat can have a positive effect on us. We spoke about going from a negative state into a positive state. You know, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us to be on our salah. This is something very, very important. Miftahul Jannah as-salah. Your key to Jannah is your salah. You don't have your key to Jannah, you can't get in. Don't have your key to Jannah, you can't get in. And this is something that we constantly need to be working on, constantly need to be that we battling to find ourselves in a system where our 5 times daily salah is on time as prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Something that we work on. Rasulullah says, teach the child at the age of 7 to make salah. At the age of 10, give him a hiding. Why? Because in Mukallaf there shouldn't be an issue with salah, because he has training from 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And at 10 years old, if he's still not after 4 years on his salah, after proper training and tarbiyah, I just give him a reminder with a liquor pak. Now the problem is, we hear this hadith, the child is 11, the child is 12, we immediately implement it without the tarbiyah. That's an injustice to the child. You didn't do your job, you want to apply the end result. The end result says give him a hiding. No, you 11, you must get a hiding. But you didn't do the tarbiyah at 7. You didn't do the tarbiyah at 8. You didn't do the tarbiyah at 9. You didn't do the tarbiyah at 10. To achieve the objective of what was mentioned. But had that been done, had that been put in place, when the child is mukallaf, then there wouldn't have been a problem. Okay, these are very important. Rasulullah gives us guidelines. At the age of 20, people's not salahing. 25, not salahing. 50 years old, still not salahing. The tarbiyah was not made. And here we see the seriousness of the salah. You know, whilst doing my Quranic studies, tarjuma and translation of Quran, something that really hit me. As you grow up, salah is an issue. But something that really assisted me on getting onto my salah is when we came to the verses that spoke about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being on the battlefield. And then a group of the companions had to take their weapons. And they had to guard the enemy from coming, and the half of the group had to make their salah. And when the one group was done making salah, they had to pick up their weapons, and the other group had to now make the salah. On the battlefield. On the battlefield. Subhanallah. Look at the extreme circumstances that Rasulullah found himself in. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made that the command of your salah is still compulsory. So we're not on the battlefield. Our battle is getting out of our bed in the morning. You know, we have different battles, but not that physical battle. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire us through these ayat to get onto one of the pillars of our deen. One of the pillars. The pillars are not there, then the deen will, fall apart. And when it's there, the foundation is strong, we can build on it. So, a very important discussion on salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues and He says, Alladina hum, they are those who yura'un, they did things for show. Doing things for show. So like I said, initially those in Medina, they wouldn't want to be notified that they were excluded and they're not there. So instead of being called out as to, hey, but where were you? We didn't see you. They would come out and they would make salah with the believers. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew what in their heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew why they are there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals this verse to expose them. Riya, the discussion here, a very serious thing. You get shirkul akbar, the big or major shirk, and then you get what is known as shirkul asghar. So you get the major shirk. Major shirk is when you believe in something other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a God. So you believe anything else, or you associate partners, you put something else on the same level as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is shirk. Shirkul asghar is when you, the definition is riya, is doing things for show. Because when you're doing things for show, you're not doing it for the sake of Allah, you're doing it to show someone else. So the thing's supposed to be done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you're doing it in such a way that I'm doing it with the objective of showing someone else, meaning I'm putting that person on the same level as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't deem it as a God, but I'm doing it for His sake. And this is known as shirkul asghar. And these are all things, the minor form of shirk. And these are all things that we need to reflect on. You know, my actions, why am I doing it when I do it? Am I doing it for the wrong reasons? Is my intention correct when I do it? As we know, innamal a'malu binniyat, that every action is judged by the intention. This hadith is quite a lengthy hadith. We only mentioned the beginning of it. The hadith continues, and the people went on the hijrah. The hijrah was that migration from Makkah to Medina. 13 years later, they had to leave their homes and everything. So there was someone amongst them that didn't actually go for the hijrah, but he was in love with somebody. He didn't go with the intention of going with the Muslims. He was in love with somebody. So he joined the crowd. And in the crowd, it seems like, oh no, he's part of us. But his objective was never to be part of the Muslims. I'm in love with someone and that's how I'm going. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposes this reality. That amongst a group of hundreds of people, all look like they were believers, all look like they're doing something good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to distinguish. And the reminder is given to us so that we make sure that our intentions are pure in everything we do. Our intentions need to be pure. You can be doing hundreds of good deeds, and if it's not with a pure intention, you will come on the day of Qiyamah and you will look for those good deeds, and it will be said to you, but you did it for this person, so get the reward for that person. You did it for that person and get the reward for one of the hadith that really, if I mention it, it makes my hair stand. That there are three people, the first three people that are going to be questioned on the day of Qiyamah. First three people that are going to be questioned on the day of Qiyamah. It's the alim, the one that Allah subhanahu has granted knowledge. And the qari, the one who recites beautifully. And the mujahid fi sabilillah, and the person who goes onto the battlefield for the sake of Allah and he goes to fight. So, first person to be questioned, the alim. Allah says, I gave you knowledge, what did you do with it? He says, no, Allah, I taught, and I learnt, and I conveyed, and I did, and I did, and I did. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, you lied. You did it so that you can be called an alim. Oh, look how intelligent this person is, and look how knowledgeable he is, and you did it for that reason. You wanted people to say that, and people said that. So you got your reward for that in the dunya, people said it. And that person gets stakes by his forehead, and he gets dragged into Jahannam, and he's thrown into Jahannam. Second person, the qari. Also, I gave you the ability to read the Quran, learn the Quran, recite beautifully. What did you do with it? He says, no, I read. No, and I inspired people, and I did for your sake. And Allah says, no, you did it to be called a qari. Look how beautifully that person recites. Let's listen to his beautiful traichees that he's making and so on and so forth. That was said to you in the dunya. That was your reward. There's absolutely no reward for you now. And he's taken by his forehead and he's thrown into Jahannam. The third person, the Mujahid, he's raised with the battle scars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I gave you ability, I gave you strength, I gave you the necessary. And what did you do with it? And he says, I went into the battlefield and I went to fight and I went to go defend Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, you did it to be called shuja, to be called that you are a brave person. You know, you did it for that reason and people called you brave. And the rewards is there and they are taken by their forehead and thrown into Jahannam. Now, quick question. The alim, he studies 10 years, 12 years, whatever amount of years. Did he study that amount of years to be thrown into Jahannam? Do you think a person would strive so long to be thrown into Jahannam? No. Hafiz of Quran, he studies 4 years hifz, 5 years hifz, to be thrown into Jahannam. Did he study? Was the intention that I'm going to study so many years to be thrown into Jahannam? So what is the cause of him being thrown into Jahannam? What is the cause? Sorry? Deviation, how? After acquiring the knowledge? They're looking for status. So it boils down to the intention one has when one's doing what one is doing. I mean, this is a sad reality that after 10 years of studies, or 5 years, or 6 years, or whatever amount of years, and for the rest of the time working in that field of your study, to be thrown into Jahannam, something scary. But it's all based on the intention. You read the verse, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. And they not be commanded except that they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely. Ya Allah, I'm doing this for your sake. For your sake. And then there will be benefits connected to that. But we always need to purify our intention. We don't want to come on the day of Qiyamah and whatever we did is lost. It's gone. SubhanAllah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continuously allow us to purify our intentions, that we do it purely for the sake of, for His sake, and on the day of Qiyamah we're going to see the rewards of our actions, very importantly. And in the last verse, وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ, mana'a, to prevent. وَيَمْنَعُونَ, and they prevent ma'un. Now, before I translate ma'un, I want us to look at the progression of the surah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts out by saying, have you seen the one that denies the final day, denies the day of judgment? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes into descriptions that we wouldn't have thought to be connected to denial of the day of judgment. So you're not interested in the poor, and you're not interested in taking care of the orphans, and then He takes it a step further. There's a progression. Step further, your salah, something important. And then beyond that, doing things for show. So now the last thing, it seems like the progression, the last thing is the biggest thing. It's something high, it's something great. What is it that can be discussed here? And Allah subhanahu at the end of the surah, which is the name of the surah, says, وَيَمْنَعُونَ, and they prevent Al-Maa'oon. Al-Maa'oon is small kindnesses. Small kindnesses. Small kindnesses. That's all it is. Small kindness. You can't be kind to the next person. You can't assist the next person. You can't. This is the how the surah ends. Out of all the seriousness things that was said, what would end with, we think it would be something big. But in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the small kindnesses are what is important. The small kindnesses is what on the day of Qiyamah will be your means of Jannah. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they heard that if you give someone something to break their fast, the next person, then you get the reward of that fast. So they asked us, what if we don't have anything to give? Give them a glass of water. Rasulullah says in hadith, لا تحقرن من المعروف شيئا. Don't underestimate any form of good. ولو أن تلقى أخاك بوجه طليق. That even if it is that you give your brother a smile. Smile, brothers. Don't smile with you. Brothers to the brothers, no? Smile to the brothers, can Allah. So, the surah kind of realigns who you are. We're claiming one thing, but our actions are in accordance with that belief. I believe in the hereafter. I firmly believe in the day of Qiyamah. I believe I'm going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let's look at the actions. Are the actions in line with those things? A beautiful example that is made in the 7 habits, and I want us to conclude with this example quickly. Second habit, he says, think of the end in mind. And he says, I'm going to give an Islamic tone to it. He speaks about the person that has passed on. So in the church, we're going to use the masjid, or the house, there's a cattle. And now you're coming to visit, you're coming to ziyarah the body. You're coming to greet the body as is our tradition. And so when you're coming, I want you to picture this, you're coming to the body now. Have I made this example before? No. So you're coming to the body, and when you look at the body, lo and behold, it's you there. It's you there. So you see yourself and you're like, hey, so you're out of your body, your soul is hovering, and you see your body. Now, as in tradition with the Christians, they would have people coming up in the church to speak on behalf of that person now. So he says, so whilst you're looking at your body, people are going to speak about you now. So your spouse is going to speak about you. They're going to go up and they're going to speak about you now. And a family member, a brother or sister, is going to speak about you now. And a work colleague, someone that you work with, is going to speak about you now. And maybe a child, one of your children, is going to speak about. So you ask the question, what is it that you would like them to say at that moment whilst you're listening to them? What is it that you want them to remember you by? What are the words you would like to hear from them at that moment in time? And this is one then reflects on one's deepest realities. It's that day you don't want to hear about, no, he was the richest guy in the world and he was the most popular. What is those deep down things that you would want someone to say on that day? And this is the reality as to how you want to be remembered. So how do you achieve that on that day? How do you achieve that someone will say these beautiful things about you? It's by living it every day. So picture yourself there now. Picture yourself and what is the state? Knowing yourself, what is people going to say about you? Are you comfortable in the space that you are in now? That should Allah take us away today, and people are going to speak about us. Are we comfortable with the space that we are in? Do we feel comfortable about what people is going to relate about me and you? And that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. How do you want to be remembered? But you can't be remembered by things that you were not. People can't say, no, they were so kind, they were so generous, but you were the opposite of that. People are going to remember you for who you are, because actions speak louder than words. They're going to remember you as a particular way. And if you live that life, then that is what is going to be said about you. That is how you're going to be resurrected. So ultimately we need to look at the day that we stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we look at what we're presenting. And if there's anything that needs to be changed, then now's the time to change it. If we should leave this world today, are we able to present something that is worth it's a trade. Ya Allah, this is my life's worth, and in return I'm be given Jannah. And here are some of the things that we can reflect on, and these other things that's not being mentioned here, but this is setting the tone. Salah. Is Salah something part of your life or not? Setting the tone. Am I doing things for show or not? Setting the bar. Small kindnesses. Am I able to, do small? I moved to opposite the masjid, not opposite the masjid, Newfields recently, probably about a month ago. And my neighbor, he's just like very, very hard neighbor. He's just like, so I'm still getting to know the people and whatever. And one day, I'm not at home. My in-laws are there, and I come home very late, about 10 o'clock, and my father-in-law parks onto the grass. But like on the pavement, but they have grass. And as I pull out, so I met the man, I met the husband that stays there, and I didn't meet the wife yet. As I pull up, the wife comes out. First time I'm meeting her now, 10 o'clock the night, and she starts screaming at me. She starts, what do you think about us? And don't you respect us? And you come here and you park on our grass. And how can you park on this grass? And you know how long we take to this grass and the grass and the grass and just grass. I say, oh, Auntie, I moved in recently. My name is Yazid. What's Auntie's name? I'm Miss Williams, but my grass. And the more I'm trying to calm her down to say, look here, this is an opportunity for us to get to know each other. She's getting upset because I'm too calm for her now, because I'm not. And she goes in and her husband is sleeping. She wakes the husband up. The husband comes out, hey, what's going on here? Yo, they're parking on the grass. Why are you parking on the grass? And he makes a whole scene, and eventually we calm the whole thing down, and I call my father-in-law out and I ask him, look here, and we both go speak to him and we say, apologize and so on and so forth. And, no, but we need to be neighborly and so on and so on. I said, look here, you're speaking about neighborliness, but you and your wife came out. I wasn't here. I don't know about it. I didn't know this was an issue. And I didn't know that they're going to park here. You're speaking about neighborliness, but you're shouting at me as if I did something wrong and I didn't even know about it. He says, no, sorry about that. Didn't mean it. But I just mean what type of interaction? This is the first time I'm meeting the lady, and that's how she comes down on me. The surah ends by saying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like that people cannot interact with one another in a beautiful way. Small kindnesses, smile at one another, greet one another, hug one another. If you're able to assist. This is what Allah loves. This is what Allah loves. And so in this blessed month of Muharram, may it be one of our intentions to be able to be of benefit to others, inshallah. And on that note, Jazakallah khair. Akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.